Freud in the 90s, in the 20th century. The first talking cure, swimming, chimney sweeping, as he called it, his patients call it, is being this discipline, the method, the theory behind one of the most important um, uh, ideas in the 21st century and 20th century. So I have the pleasures to have my team together, and we have gonna have a discussions about what is psychoanalysis, what is not psychoanalysis. When we say and we're going to apply specific components or aspects of the psychoanalytic methods, what are we talking about? Okay, this is important to establish when we talk of psychoanalysis, a different school of thought. So this is what we're gonna do today. Welcome. This is CURA100 Global AI Research Podcast. And we have with me my team, Evelyn Fonseca from Chicago. It's here with complete the team. She's my assistant, and she does billing and scheduling and a lot of things for us. Alison Nicole Pozo Cervantes, she is from Ecuador, but she is in the United States, and she is working as an intern from La Universidad de las Américas, the Americas University of University of Las Americas, and Zaim Hemeda, she's directly from New York City, and she's an intern from Manhattan University. It was to be college, but it's Manhattan University. Like my university, I come from the new school for social research, and they changed for new school for university, and still people recognize it globally as the new school for social research. So anyway, so without further ado, I would like to start with probably Evan. Do you want to say something about me in this podcast? I'm gonna be the only one who's not gonna be introduced.
Yeah, so I will introduce you.
All right.
So Dr. Pina is a meta poet, coach, digital nomad, and psychoanalyst in private practice in New York and Florida. He's an expert on men in a committed relationship, creator 34 years ago of the international meta poetry movement, and he has been the founder of the Dominican psychoanalytic movement since 1982. He has also published 6 meta-poetry books and 8 books more for the Meta Studio Press of the International Meta-Poetry Movement, Incorporated. He is a doctor of medicine and a clinical and educational psychologist from the Dominican Republic, and with a master's degree in psychoanalytic studies from the New School for Social Research in New York. And he has a doctoral studies at the Boston Graduate School for Psychoanalysis in Massachusetts. He is currently the president of Hispanic Mental Health Counseling, PLLC, CURA100 AI Global, and the Global Mental Health Supergroup, with a newly created clinical and educational platform of licensed mental health counselors, mental health providers, psychotherapists, and psychoanalysts in New York, New Jersey, Florida, and Las Vegas, with a structure to reach 33 states and 1,000 mental health clinicians as the Universal Mental Health Counselors Group, PLLC. Dr. Jorge Pina lives in Florida with the poet and psychotherapist Karina Reiki and their 2 children, Camilo and Camilla, both currently college students of psychology, sociology, and philosophy. And without further ado, I am going to hand it over back to Dr. Pina.
All right. Thank you, Evelyn, for presenting me, for introducing me. Everything that you see there, so whenever people speak to me and see what everything I've done, I just done it because I wanted to be a psychoanalyst. That's it. So everything, if I study too much, if I overdo it, I just wanted to understand the unconscious of people. What is inside people desire mind, and what is it that they stop them from becoming successful or wanting what they want or developing their potential? I wanted just to find out to do that. And that's why I studied Freud from the moment I was in third years of college in the University of Santo Domingo, where I studied. I discovered that my passion in life is going to be a psychoanalyst. And I remember that I was with Dr. Camilo and he was the psychiatrist director of the most important psychiatric hospital, the only one that we call the 28, is the space of the crazy people. El lugar de los locos, the place of the crazy people. You know, people call it, oh, you're going to the 28? Because it was situated in the 28 kilometer of north to the Santo Domingo. And it was an awful hospital because they didn't have enough funding, enough place. It was not that beautiful. It looked like a cell for most of the patients. There was not respect at all. And I remember I did my internships there, but I wanted to do something with it, And it came about when I was in neuroanatomy classes. I met one Tomás Rosado Moniz, my one of my friend, also Victor Rodriguez, and he happened to have the original book of Sigmund Freud in his house. His father, who is was a Bedel, as we call it, who needed to. He is the one who took the names of the faculty teachers, professor, when they were going to class, so they can pay and they can. And he was supposed to see it like a vigilant. So if you get to the class, you come out of the class. Well, I write it and I bring it to the finance department. Imagine, it's the first university in the whole world, all university, a lot of adults, all the faculty have 2 or 3 or 4, because we didn't have any way to say if a professor of thousands of professors with thousands of students was there, so they have that kind of we need to have there's someone to be a vigilance of if the professor goes or he doesn't or she doesn't go to the class. So I found myself studying Freud. I became the Wednesdays, psychoanalytic Wednesdays, to study the original book of Freud. We studied with the study of hysteria, combinations of essays written by Sigmund Freud and Joseph Breuer, a friend of Freud, who invented completely both of them psychoanalysis, and also who left the practice or stopped the discovery of the unconscious to Sigmund Freud because he was very afraid of. The power of the unconscious was so much that he went and started like seeing hysteric patients, and these hysteric patients started like getting close to him and like getting in love with him and showing up at his house. Joseph Breuer said, "Get crazy and get afraid," and he stopped the whole thing. He stopped talking to them, hypnotizing them. He stopped the research, and he found Freud, and he spoke about this idea of there is something inside. We discovered this repressed desire that allowed these persons to come to me and to talk to me and say everything about them when I put into a hypnotic trance. And but also it's somehow they develop some kind of very deep uh, love and wanting me and attraction that I can handle, because all of a sudden it started showing up on my house. And my wife was getting very jealous. So you know the story about Freud and Joseph Breuer. And from that way, Freud discovered what we call the unconscious process. How many of the hysteria and symptoms of paralysis of women were connected to their sexuality. Remember, was the epoch, the moment where there was a lot of repressions, and the Victoria area was about the men can go and do whatever they want. They can go to the prostitute, they can have prostitutes, but they cannot be taking care of their wife. They were not so sentimental, so open, you know. So it was a lot of repressions in terms of sexuality, and at that moment, like the women's of that era were open, sophisticated, but also they have fantasies and desire that was not satisfied in the intimacy. And Freud and Joseph discovered that relationship with sexuality, also discovered the relationship with sexuality and dreams, and also the child connections, trauma related to. And at that moment, when Freud published the book of the interpretations of dream, he got a complete understanding, a theory behind, a method, a possibility to talk without using hypnosis, because he's abandoned the hypnosis first. He abandoned the physical understanding that trauma are physical and really has a cause of really trauma that was real, to introduce the fantasy component, what we call today the complex, Oedipus complex theory behind, which is we most likely get sick of fantasy that happened to us about the reality that happened to us, not the reality itself. I don't get sick because I got exposed to a trauma. I get sick because what I feel, believe, what I feel, what the trauma made me feel. So that's why we know that 10% of people who go into a trauma process, they don't develop symptomatology. Only those who are more sensitive and also have a kind of different perceptions and see the trauma in a different way, which is the fantasy theory of the Oedipus complex, develop symptomatology. So it was one of the main uh, themes and specific theory behind psychoanalysis. The abandonment of the seduction theory. If you are sick today, is not because you were raped by someone close to you. Yes, that rape can get you traumatized and sick and neurotic or psychotic, but it was because of the fantasy that itself you have with the idea that might happen or not that caused to you the symptomatology of today. And that was a very important theory behind psychoanalysis, but also was criticized. So you are denying that people are really raped, that they are being raped by dad or uncle or someone close. And you say that this is a fantasy, that they're fantasizing about it. That is not true. So remember that in the 60s, then a lot of psychoanalysts and psychotherapists brought about the uh, awakening of the traumatized fantasies of patients, and they were now building a case to uh, bring to justice and to criminal justice their parents, because now psychoanalysts were saying, well, that was not a fantasy, it was real. You now fantasize that your father like sodomized you or seduced you. He did that because you remember that. So Freud saw, oh no, that was not real, this is a fantasy. And now there is a group of psychoanalysts in the 60s and 70s that are telling the patients, no, you have to confront your father, it was for real. And also you have to bring him to justice, you have to bring him to the law. And you saw a lot of great relationship with mom and dad and father. All of a sudden, mom go to a psychotherapist, and one day they come. So my therapist told me that you really seduced me, that you raped me, and I'm gonna take you to. I'm gonna go and go to the police. I'm gonna report you. And so there's a lot of history in terms of was it real, was it not real, what can I do with this rediscovery of my unconscious through the process of psychotherapy. So there's a lot that we can say is about psychoanalysis, how it's created, how it was invented. But what we know that Freud, whose birthday we celebrate last week, born in Freiburg, Moravia, and now that we call Vienna in German, was someone who dedicated his life. He written 150 books on psychoanalysis, 20,000 plus articles and letters he wrote. He established himself the most important theory behind the school of psychoanalysis for the mind, for understanding. It's been a great influence on linguistic, on science, literature, arts, anthropology. There is not way in the history on the popular culture that is not influenced by the discovery of Sigmund Freud. I've been a psychoanalyst all my life, ever since that I've done the books that I have published, the psychoanalytic movement, the meta poetry movement I established in Santo Domingo, now a global phenomenon with a lot of writers, is because I became a psychoanalyst and I wanted to do a psychoanalyst. So let's talk about what exactly do we say when we speak and we want to research about psychoanalysis and differentiate psychoanalysis from different story, from different theory. No, me voy a quedar aquí. Tengo que hacer este podcast. So today I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna go early to the gym. So I'm gonna be with you guys. So first, the emphasis on dialogue that is open, that is not structured, and that is not determined and is related to fantasies and dreams. This is one of the main component of the psychoanalytic protocol. If a patient comes to you, you don't have a structure. It's just a dialogue, it's a conversations, and that person is going to talk about her or his deepest ideas, dreams, and fantasies. That's psychoanalysis. And nobody in this world who is a psychologist cannot stop the patient from coming to talk to you and say whatever it is in their mind, which is what we call the free association of. So if you're doing that, you are using psychoanalysis. You can escape that, because not to do psychoanalysis or the psychoanalytic approach, you will have to be didactic. You come to me today, I'm going to make a history to you, and this is what I'm going to prescribe, and this is what I'm going to do in session 2, 3, 4, 5. And then when we structure the session like a coach, when we have a plan for the patients that we believe is the best, when we don't listen in a dialogue that is not structured and is open and is not determined by the clinician, we are using psychoanalysis. Very important that. So the emphasis of you come to me, you talk to me, whatever it says, whatever you have in your mind, that's psychoanalysis. And the patients told Freud, shut up, let me speak, you speak too much. You know, he used to for his patients to bring about their fantasies and idea, and to go into the unconscious, what as he wanted, to find the real cause of what is there, to do like a big interpretations. Freud hypnotized the patients so that I can know exactly inside your mind. Then he started like touching the center of the mind. So now when you know, because people come, they don't know, I don't know what you're talking, what I am, I don't know what's happening to me. So he used to touch their hands, and then, okay, as soon as you touch your hand, you're gonna remember. And people, you know, this is subjection, this is a placebo, you know, this is you're suggesting me to do something. You know, hypnosis, the touching, giving a sense of hope, instillation of hope to the patients. Yes, you're gonna be great. You see, you're gonna change. I'm gonna give you this book. I'm gonna give you this coach. I'm gonna give you this therapist, and you're gonna feel fine. So everything that I'm saying is subjection. I'm subjecting you. It's some kind of directing you. Yes, it has a lot of effects because it's go beyond the placebo effect. But psychoanalysis is really open. You're here to talk to me about everything you want. And that's the golden rule. Very difficult to apply, you know, because most likely she or she is talking and you want to say something. You want to counsel. You want to advise. It's very difficult to open yourself to be in the psychoanalytic process for a long time, because you have a lot of things to yourself. You have a lot of blind spots. You want to talk. You want to be a doctor. You want to be a counselor. So that's why the only way you can take the patients to that place that he cannot take himself and you cannot take himself is by you doing a psychoanalysis yourself. Because you go to psychotherapy, you find the space where you can speak and talk. That guy is a psychoanalyst and will allow you to open up all your blind spot. If you don't do that, we know they're going to be making mistakes and it's not going to be that free the space for the patient. But anyway, this is the first protocol points that I wanted to you. If you analyzing fantasies and dreams and you want to go into this world of wish and desire, to the patients, we're talking about psychoanalysis. That's psychoanalysis, okay? And if you're that, you're a psychoanalyst. You to practice psychoanalysis in different states, you have to have license. And to have license, you can only use the 90845 CPT code, that is psychoanalysis. 90845 is the CPT code, is the code that only psychoanalysts can use. Yeah, most people can use the approach of psychodynamic and psychoanalysis. In different states, you don't have to be licensed to be psychoanalyst. In many cities and states of the world, you don't have to be a licensed to practice. You can say, I'm a psychoanalyst, I want to use Freud to do psychoanalysis. Jack Lacan says the psychoanalyst is that one who authorizes himself. Nobody authorizes psychoanalysis but himself. Okay, at any moment, I want to be a psychoanalyst. I want to practice psychoanalysis. That's what I love. That's what I like. Nobody can say, "Oh, well, you cannot do that." Well, yes, I can do that because psychoanalysis is also part of the psychiatric, psychological counseling school of psychoanalysis, of treatment in the whole world. But what you cannot use is in different states, you cannot be a psychoanalyst if you're not licensed, and you cannot use the 908 45 in your cases. Like, for example, I come from Argentina, I come from Ecuador, I come from Italy, I'm a psychoanalyst, I'm going to go to America, and there is what I'm doing with my patients, psychoanalysis, and then you say 90848, you don't have a license, you're in trouble. Okay? You can do psychoanalytic approach. Your practice could be psychoanalytic, okay, but you cannot call yourself psychoanalyst and then never use the code. So that's the first one of the protocol of psychoanalysis. The second one, it's the analyst identify recurrent experience and themes that are related to the ideas, sub-perceptions of patients related to the past. Psychoanalysis is evolutionary, it's an evolution. I need to know about, and I will love to talk to me about your childhood, everything that had happened to you in the past. That's psychoanalysis. If you're applying any kind of cognitive behavior or existential or client oriented, whatever you do, and you don't want to take care of the past, don't talk to me about the past. I don't care about what happened to you. It's not related to here, so you're not applying psychoanalysis. But if you are connected to, and if you believe that anything that happened to you in the past, that anything that happened to you when you were growing up is connected to who you are, that if the past, the child that you left behind, your family history, everything is important in therapy, and that has some reason, some idea behind that you can understand, that you can understand yourself, that the idea, the sort of perception that I have about myself connected to the past is important, you use in psychoanalysis. There is no approach of theory in the world that will never go to the past. Most of the theories of psychotherapy or psychology or psychiatry have to be psychoanalytic, because there is no way that you can say you can heal someone, cure someone, or give some kind of release or catharsis to someone if they don't say, yeah, I don't feel fine, Dr. Pina. I came from Mexico, and in Mexico, my dad was an alcoholic, and he used to hit my mother. He was a fine guy. I love my father, but he hits a lot my mother in Mexico, and then also, and then I cry at my perceptions, my idea of that moment, of that history in part, make some kind of evolution of who I am. The child is the father of the adult. The child is the father of the man, Freud said. The child, that who I am, will let me know who I am right now. And also we know the psychology of the evolution of psychology, the history and the different stages that Freud established, and many editions like brings about different components of, and how symptomatology of personality is part of what you have been done and experienced in the past. So we can escape psychoanalysis, and that is part of the protocol of psychoanalysis. Do you understand that? That's very kind of easy, and people say, "Oh, wow, yeah, I can practice that. I'm a psychologist. I can do the same." No, if you do that, you're doing psychoanalysis. Because to establish what is not psychoanalysis, and to do a protocol or to do a research, you cannot say that, oh, my research protocol, which is cognitive behavioral, or it's Skinner or Watsonian kind of a stimuli and respond kind of, or it's existential, or I created a new therapy and this new therapy is using the history and the past. Well, you're using part of my protocol. You cannot call that your theory because you're using what is specifically of my interest. Okay, so number three, psychoanalysis and psychoanalysis presents attentions to and give importance and considerations to your feeling like envy, like rage, and also the idea of excitement, and it puts them as a archetypes. So your feeling of hate, of rage, of envy has a component with the collective desires of human being. You know, your really feelings of envy and desire can make you kill someone, kill yourself, suffer, creates a lot of symptomatology, creates who you are, the way you behave is because of that emotions that I have. So we give a lot of attentions to those really unacceptable desires that we have that are strong desire. And we don't, it's like I remember the case when one of you guys, I was talking about what happened with a trauma in my family, a death of my family, a suicide of my family, and all of a sudden you didn't want it to go there. You wanted to touch the unacceptable. You didn't want it to go to my emotions. You wanted to take me to treat me kind. And no, we go into the acceptable feelings of the patients, and we excavate. We go inside it. We rediscover why you envy, why you jealous, why you fantasize about it, what are your passions, and we can stay for a week, for a month, for a year, and you can stay in that sentiment, that passions, talking about forever. Why I envy my sister, why she's love and she's better than me, and then we go and discover those themes in Romeo and Julia. We discover themes in terms of the Oedipus complex, the hate of the love for the mother, the hate for the father. We discover the envy of Cain and Abel. So we find those big sentiments that are really important, that describe your personality. When we're talking about that, that's psychoanalysis. When you allow the patients to come bring me the acceptable, tell me about everything, no, doctor, I cannot say you that. It's too much for me. This is crazy. I cannot say that. I love the husband of my daughter or my sister. I really love that person. And then all those kind of deep fantasies connected to my feeling before, that I want, that I have the space to say it to my psychologist, to my therapist. We're talking that when you talk to the patients and pay attention to unacceptable ideas and feelings and sentiments, we're talking about psychoanalysis. And you, as a psychotherapist, you can escape that, because some of your patients will come with exactly with an acceptable feeling. You say, oh no, we're not going to talk today about that, or don't talk to me about the past. Oh, those fantasies. Well, I'm not a psychoanalyst. Let me say what you're going to say. So it's very difficult to scale the psychoanalytic protocol. That's what I'm trying to say. So, and then number four, have you listened or have you heard about um, this ideas, repression, the what time is it now?
8:38 or 8:37.
8:37. So have you heard of repressions, the unconscious process of pushing the dress through feeling or memories out of conscious awareness? Have you heard of denial, refusing to acknowledge a painful reality, either consciously or unconscious? Projections, attributing one's own acceptable feelings or thoughts to another person. Displacement, redirecting intense feelings or impulses from a target that is unacceptable to one that is more acceptable. Rationalization, providing a socially acceptable reason for an acceptable behavior or feeling. Reactive formation, behaving in a way that is the opposite of one's true feeling or impulses. Have you heard of intellectualization? Focusing on the intellectual aspects of situations to avoid the emotional impact. Sublimation, redirecting unacceptable impulses into socially acceptable activities. Compensation, overachieving in one area for perceived efficiencies in another. Fantasy, engaging in games or escaping behavior to avoid unpleasant results. Undoing, attempting to cancel out an unacceptable thoughts or actions by engaging in the opposite behavior. Compartmentalization, creating separate compartments in one's life to isolate different aspects of reality. Introjection, internalizing the values, attitudes, and belief of another person's, often in a way that distort the self-image. Humor, using humor to reduce anxiety or deal with painful situations. Altruism, engaging in selfless act for others to relieve anxiety or feeling of inadequacy. Have you heard of those? All of you? Yes, that's the defense mechanism established by Freud, established by his daughter Anna in a book, The Defense Mechanism by Anna Freud. So that's psychoanalysis. If you use that at any moment in culture, in a movie, in a novel, with yourself, with your patients, and you want to try the deep meaning of your patients, you're talking about psychoanalysis. It's meant for Freud. And you cannot escape any defense mechanism. We know that. Okay? We do it every day because the defense mechanisms, because I cannot deal with reality. I have to lie to myself. I cannot be all the time being the free honest guy to the whole world. So mechanism will allow me to keep myself sane. And also defense mechanism, you have to be very careful, because when a patient comes to you, they come with all his or her defenses. You can all of a sudden start like, yeah, that's because you hate your father, and that's because you wanna sleep with your boss and things like that. You cannot take away the defenses. You cannot go be honest. You cannot be making interpretations all of a sudden. You have to be very careful where the patient is at, how much of a knowledge he has. That's why we know that you cannot go trying to be psychologist with everybody and say, well, what you have to do is this. Are you doing this because of that? You cannot be Freudian to people. You cannot be all honest with everyone, because no, who are you? You cannot take away my defenses. You have to respect who I am. That's not true. And it's going to happen the same with the patient. Don't come take away my defenses. Leave me with my blind spots, with my lies, with the life that I have, my father, sisters, things like that. So I can see many weakness in people, but I don't go about take them. Oh no, wow, you're defending yourself. You know that's not the truth. You don't know yourself. But anyway, number 4 is the defense attitudes that we have, and we explore 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 13, 14, 14, 15, 16 defense mechanism types that we use in any way in culture, but most likely in psychoanalysis. In when we talk about psychoanalysis, we have to be very careful how to use it and with whom, especially in our cases, because the symptom, the pathology behind, the disorders behind the patient when they come is part of the process, the way he behaves. And you take away his defenses and you let him like naked with that who he is, you might bring more damage to the patient. So very important to see the patient where he is, and then you can go about and interpret or let him know about the way he's defending himself. Okay, you have to know the patients deeply enough to give an interpretation, even to give an advice. That's very important. That's why most of the counselors fail, because an advice that for something that you perceive the patient's needs or wants is a mistake, because sometimes I'm not ready, or that's not exactly true what you're saying. And number five, interpretations of the size, ideas, and ideas and feelings that we avoid, that are unconscious, and that's exactly what it means. We are not responsible of who we are. We don't know who we are. There is something biggest behind, deepest in my ideas, in my feeling, in that who I am, that I avoid, that I want to confront, that is unconscious, okay, and is stupid, that I don't want people to know. And it's not that I don't want people to know, it's that I don't know. And that's why I am who I am consistently. Okay. So the more I know about those feelings, ideas, and the more you allow the patient himself to go deep into what he is, the better it's going to be for you and for us, for me. The more you know yourself, is better for humanity to develop your potential, to get your dreams if you want to, and to be more freer of any kind of symptomatology. So there's gonna be a time where you are, you know yourself, you much, and you become irresponsible. You don't give a fuck. I'm sorry to you too. Like a really? You mean like a nah? Where? No, I'm gonna do whatever I'm gonna do. I mean, I'm gonna be the kids that speak, that shit in front of everybody. Remember, you when you were born, you were so nice that you can pee, you can do anything, you can touch anything you want. You were free to do it. You evolve to be a sophisticated person. All of a sudden, you have a lot of symptoms, a lot of defenses, a lot of shame, and you're timid. You're not extrovert. You don't want to talk to nobody. You hold your feeling. You know what to do with people. You not get so sophisticated. I mean, you get depressed. You get anxious. It's because you repress your feelings, desire, who you are, and you become more in tune with something else that is not you. So if you interpret desires, feelings, an idea, and you avoid them, and they are become unacceptable, we are talking in the protocol of psychoanalysis. And then finally, the last two, it's when you believe that the relationship between the patients, the therapy, and the analyst, when you focus on that, and then we give it a name, you can say you're more empathetic, or it's a therapeutic alliance. Freud said, oh, it's transference. You're transferring that feeling that you have from someone else, okay, that is not me, most likely your mom, your dad, to me, and that's why you hate me, you love me. It's because something happened to you of a trauma with someone else that you coming to these situations now. And Freud say, oh, you know, Breuer, you remember the Breuer left the study of the hysteria, that he closed his office because the patients all of a sudden were loving him, because he believed that the patients were loving him, and he just brought this idea to Freud. Freud say, no, he's not loving me. They're not loving me. They're not in love. It's the process. It's the therapy itself. It's the space that I create. You know, it's when you listen to someone and they bring you intimacy and everything, they bring those feelings from the past, and they reconnect with mom and dad, or with some lover, with someone love that someone who treated me openly and listens to me carefully and become my friends and accept all my defenses, all my shit, the good and the bad. When someone is like so good to me and open up and listen to me, okay, and want the best for me, my teacher, my psychoanalyst, my psychiatrist, my doctor, my friends, my priest, my mentor, anybody that open up a space, a good space for me, a holding space that is motherly, that is good, I will attach to the person. I will follow him. I will love him. I will love the person. And that's why it's like when patients come to you, they love you because they reconnect to that person who loved me the same, who gave me the best. Because I go to my child memory, I go to my mom, I go to my sister, I go to the moments of freedom. Now nobody is saying no, don't say, don't talk, don't criticize. Nobody's criticizing me. Nobody putting me down. Oh, my doctor understands me deeply, and I can speak everything about him. Freud said, "Oh wow, that's transference. That's not. It's not for me." By the way, you so ugly. How is it that everybody come to you and is loving you? Well, it's not me. It's not me. I'm not doing anything. It's the space that I create. It's this therapist that I situate and interpret the transference. It's happening there inside the space. You create a space, and the space will grow. So that's why don't sleep with your patients because they don't love you because they are in love with you. It's because of the transference, and that's illegal all anywhere. Priests don't with your uh, church going mentor because it's so powerful. Remember, transference is so powerful that the inventions of psychoanalysis was supposed to be given to Joseph Breuer, and he got afraid. These people, I'm a married person. I'm married. I'm Jew. And they show up into my door. I miss you, doctor. Why are you not seeing me? I love you. It's crazy. He closed he closed the to listen and to do the hypnosis to the hysteric patients because the energy, the libido gets impregnated, get catectic. Catecticized is one of the concepts of psychoanalysis, and I get afraid. Okay, so but also when you use transference, when you deep the deep connection with your patients is when the patients start like talking to you, and his defense mechanism or her defense mechanisms go down. So then what you do, you just listen to your patients. You don't say anything. You don't do any kind of interpretation, even if you want to, you know. And you see me in shadow therapy. I don't talk. I listen. I don't talk, I listen. I don't talk, I listen. I don't talk, I listen. I know that the moment I say something, I disrupt the transference, the therapy, the process of this patient talking and say who he is and describing him. Okay, and that person can be with me for 1 day to 10 years. If I open up and not let them be, the moment I go and talk and say something about it and give an interpretations, I am in trouble. Okay, so that's number 5, and number 6, transference. Also, he discovered, oh wow, I also like this patient. Oh, I kind of love. I feel so good with this patient. I mean, like, wow, I hate this one. Oh my God, it's really good. Oh, I gonna see this patient. I'm anxious. I don't want to talk to this person. I don't want. Oh my God, let me see. It's like oh man, it's Friday at, let's say, an hour. Like at 6 a.m. and this couple is coming. Oh, I have also ideas, feelings against my patients. I love that person how he is and she's. And then Freud says you have to be aware and you have to make an interpretation of, because if you don't do it, you get in trouble. And how I'm gonna know my counter-transference ideas? In my psychoanalysis, you know? So the more you go to personal psychoanalysis, you understand yourself more, better, and you're not gonna bring that things to your patient. Okay, and you're gonna get it. And sometimes I remember that these patients have some feeling for me and I have some feeling for her. And she said, like, I know I'm the kind of woman for you. I know that. I know. I mean, she know me. And it was in my office, and she was in a group, And she knows that I am Dr. Pina and Dr. Reich is my wife. She's there, she's part of the group. But she had that feeling and she started crying and telling to the other patients. And then personally, she's like expressing her love. And then I know how to analyze the transference, how we do. And then, and so I was very careful because I gave a big advice to her husband. And the next day I said, why I was so so final, so strong with this advice. Why am I telling him this about her or to do this so extreme? I said, oh wow, I have to be very careful of my counter-transference with the husband, with her, with everybody, because you're gonna affect the process of the treatment. Only psychoanalysis is part of the protocol. So finally, um, create a connections and therapeutic relations with other relationships. Like it's important the relationship you have with your father. It's important relationship you have with your child, with your sister. Then the group dynamic component was created, and then also the systemic approach of family was created, because now you come to me and you're connected to your brother, your sister is really important, your mom and dad, and also you are part of a group society, school, teachers, community, college, and Freud psychoanalysis give that possibility to brings the other, bring the others into the system of therapy. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that we can see everything? So I know I don't watch a lot of televisions, but I know what's going on. You come and you tell me. Did you know? Did you know that opinion? What did I know? The Pope? Oh, really? Do we have a new Pope? Yeah. Did you know what Donald Trump said? What, Dr. P? You didn't know, Dr. P? Did you hear the news? Do you know there is a storm in I don't know, Illinois? Do you know the killing? What, Dr. P? Did you know what happened in Santo Domingo? What happened in Santo Domingo? Or you don't know that about the Jet Club? Oh, really? Oh, let me just go. You see? So because I am the psychoanalytic process is like a window to the world. My many people, friend, patients can bring them to me. It's like a window to the whole world if you have the psychoanalytic approach. Okay, so it's we have 5 minutes. I hope that you understand that most likely you will be doing some aspects of the psychodynamic fields, theory, practice, and science of psychoanalysis. We can escape it. It's in us. It's established for the talking cure. Whenever you have a space, this is amazing. This is beautiful because it's, oh wow. If I know psychoanalysis and I study psychoanalysis, I can know someone and I can take him slowly to develop his or her potential, know themselves, cure, heal, and do something great for humanity. Psychoanalysis is not only, okay, let me just take the symptoms. You cannot sleep, you cannot love this person, you cannot have sex with this person, or you are depressed or you're anxious, and that's it. Bye bye. It's something else. So people come because they suffer to see me, and then all of a sudden they get interested in themselves. Isn't that amazing? Oh, wow. Now it's not a month or 2 months, 3 months. Oh, I want to stay more. Okay. I get interested in myself. I want to change myself. I want to know more. And now, oh wow, I also want to transform myself. I am changing. I am becoming someone else. Isn't that spiritual? Isn't that what the shaman, the brujo, the priest, the influencer, the books wants you to change, to transform you, be someone different? That is deeply the aspiration of a psychoanalyst, of a psychoanalysis. You get the space to someone to bring his heart and soul to you. We are the substitute of the shaman, the priest, the mentor, uh, to the doctors who used to listen to us now, the doctor doesn't listen to us, whatever. Okay, just take this pill, bye-bye. Okay. The influencer who want to really change your life, the self-help people, okay, it's a great space. Do you think I'm gonna retire? No, no. people people who love to talk to people and to like to change people and see the changes that they do, you want to continue doing this for the rest of your life. Or people, Dr. Pina, how you do that? Well, how you listen to people? Well, I love this. I love this. And then I can do it from Venecia and Paris and London or Santo Domingo because like life changed completely. Do I want to retire? I'm not going to retire. I love this. I like to listen and to use. Remember, because remember, it's it's not just listening to people. Oh, well, because you listen. No, it's a dialogue. It's an open conversation with a human being who is really interesting and bring a lot of stuff and is willing to bring it to you. Oh, Dr. Pina, let me tell you today what happened. Oh my God, I went to Barcelona and listen, this woman, you know that as soon as I saw her, she see me. Wow, I'm gonna tell you what happened. And you want you want to listen? You be like you want to be in the window of the psychoanalyst. Let me see what's going on there. All the desire and mystery, everything that happened is there in the psychoanalytic, and it's telling you nobody knows. Nobody knows, and you are the only one to know. Isn't that wonderful? That you can create poet, film, story about change life just because you are psychoanalyst. So next time in my podcast, I will talk about the specific. I think I have seven distinctive scientific ideas of the psychodynamic techniques. So I will do the same. I will bring seven, the protocol, and then I will bring the specific characteristics which are distinctive to the psychodynamic techniques. All right. So thank you, bye-bye. Thank you, Evelyn, for being here, saying Jimena, Rosaura, Alison Pozo Cervantes, Evelyn Mateo, for listening so quiet. I know I would like to have some time, some space, but I wanted to give you this whole podcast to you to understand and to see what it means, what is psychoanalysis, and what it means to be psychoanalyst. If you are in that world, and I know that you are, many of you are, and you don't know it, that's psychoanalysis. You're going to have a discussions, a better understanding of more ideas and school. And some of those schools will use all of these constructs, all of this idea, and they don't know that they have to use it. You can escape it because Freud invented them from the beginning. Okay? So without further ado,